Don't let the grass grow under your feet, as we're going to be breaking brand new ground. Whether you have one small houseplant or acres of land, you're gardening. Excuse me. Isn't that a great thing? Getting your hands all dirty and growing things, it's so exciting. Well, we'll be talking about how to make your plants look the best that they possibly could. Don't beat around the bush. For whatever's on your gardening mind, join me here on Things Green. Being the mayor of this wonderful city you have here has got to be a challenge with all of the heat and the water and all that kind of stuff, isn't it?
There's some challenges, there's no question about it, but Palm Desert for a long time has been a leader in respecting resources, recognizing the influence and really the beauty of the desert and how important it is to respect what we have here.
Okay, now we are in the desert,
yes,
and we see a ton of flowers,
right,
and things going on.
Yes.
Are you sure that's where I'm at?
That's what people forget. The desert has to bloom so that it keeps going, and it has beautiful flowers, it has beautiful blooms, and even just the plants themselves have beautiful colors.
Now, one of the things that I know about you is that you've actually seen this place from its beginnings all the way to right now, and it's been a transition, hasn't it?
It has changed a lot. It was beautiful then, but now it reflects the environment even better, and it shows how cognizant these people are of respecting the environment and of making the most of the desert that they live in.
And we do have to change things every so often because the technology back then is so much different than today.
Absolutely.
Now, have you seen that being embraced in the city in general? Because you got a pretty big area here you have to take care of.
Well, yes. We have seen it being embraced. Occasionally you'll get the person who's very comfortable with what they have today and what they had yesterday. But for the most part, we have people who are really looking forward and who want to embrace what can be and what can be better. And they want to make sure that they maintain their desert for not only themselves, but their children and all future generations.
So it becomes a sustainability aspect after that, doesn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so I like the idea that you guys are forward thinking and you're wanting to make these changes because, you know, we have 14 states that are in a drought, for goodness sakes.
Right.
And trying to grow things in a desert, that right there could be a challenge in itself, but it seems like you guys are embracing that and really taking the steps to make it better.
Absolutely. And when you look at what they've done, how they've taken out a lot of the old landscaping that didn't respect water use, that was not water efficient, and how beautiful it is, and all the color they have and all the blooms, you can see you can have beautiful landscape while respecting all of your resources.
Now, do you think they would respect the fact if we were to go to those plants right over there and pick our own bouquet of flowers?
I don't think we should do it. But I'm not sure they'd be mad.
Yeah, it sure is tempting. I'm telling you that much right now.
They're gorgeous. Absolutely.
Okay, we're in the middle of the desert over there. Who decided to put flowers in this place?
You know, I have no idea. That goes back to the original developer, but that's a great plant. That's a bogey, takes very little water. Got beautiful color.
Yeah.
And we have them, that's kind of a signature plant at Indian Ridge, that red bogey, throughout the whole community.
Now, with you being a resident here, what are some of the things that really excite you about the whole development and the redevelopment of the landscape out here?
Well, aside from getting rid of a 25-year-old irrigation system, we've got a a new landscaping look called, I guess we call it lush and efficient.
Lush and efficient.
You love that, huh?
I really do like that. I've been in this business for years, and I have never heard anybody call a water-wise landscape lush and efficient. But you guys kind of have been accomplishing that, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a perfect name for it. Mitzi, why don't you expand on it?
Okay, so lush and efficient is a word used by Coachella Valley Water District in encouraging all of us to do a better job of replacing plant material and replacing turf with efficient plant material, but still you can keep your landscaping very lush, lots of color, lots of textures, plants that move in the wind, plants that bloom different times of the year, and I think that our architect really captured that for us and brought that together, and you can see in our landscape we don't look like we're missing anything.
I'm really glad you brought up those little points right there, because as you were talking, we can see the grasses over here in the background, and they are kind of just shimmering and dancing back, and then these lantana right here, every so often they'll get a waft, and then they're kind of dancing at the same time too.
And don't you love the way they cascade around the rocks, and the effect that gives, the depth, it gives a depth to the landscape.
Yeah.
So I think that really adds to it.
Well, being the fact that you actually originated from managing properties like this out in Arizona.
Right.
I mean, you know all about stark landscape out there.
I do, and so that was one of the things that was so surprising to me when we introduced this to the homeowners, is how it was difficult for us to explain the difference between desert landscape, xeriscape as people know it, and then also lush and efficient landscape. And it really is such a visual thing. You have to show pictures, you have to show plant material. And our homeowners actually learned that some of them had already started incorporating that, because they had put some plant material in their front yard or in the front yards of the homes that we were actually able to keep during this landscape plan and incorporate into the landscape plan that we were introducing. So it really was what people wanted, they just didn't know it.
With that in mind, with the water, there's been a lot of strides that have been taken just as far as the irrigation is concerned.
Yeah, the irrigation was enormous because it's 25 plus years old, and probably 30, 40-year-old technology on the controllers and the system. So all of that's been changed, and that's a significant thing. That's going to give us the water savings well beyond what the objective is. The 25% reduction will be well beyond that. So that's good.
Well, and the other thing that Jack points out continuously is, for example, the bougainvilleas on the lot, or this lantana over here, they may have been original plants, they may not have been, but they never grew this big because our old irrigation system was so inferior that we couldn't provide them enough water in the right way. Yeah. So we've actually seen the health of our existing plants expand as well, so it was win-win.
Well, one of the things that I really find pretty fascinating, Jack, is that there hasn't been many times through the times that we've started talking about this whole project here, from the beginning hours ago to right now, the fact that you always mention the flowers. That's important to you, isn't it?
I like the flowers, I like the color, and I like the color all year long. The desert's kind of unique, and most of the plants are really happy in the summer, when it's 110 degrees, or but it's all part of living in this type of environment. The color really adds a lot. Yeah. Beautiful.
And then we were talking at one time quite a bit earlier as well, when we first got greeted, and I wasn't given any coffee, by the way. Not that I noticed.
Not that you noticed.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to see how this goes today, and there may be coffee waiting for you at the end of the day.
All right. For how warm it's getting, because we are in the desert, I'm going to want that iced, okay?
Oh, you got it.
Oh, okay. But one of the things that really got me when you were talking is how you said, the front yards over here, you notice that people weren't really using them as a traditional front yard as you would see, maybe probably in the East or someplace like that, where they have porches and swings, and you could throw stuff at the kids walking on your grass and all that kind of stuff. None of that activity was happening. But if you take a little stroll past those gates, into the backyard, to where you can get that iced coffee that I'm going to score later, I could sit down in a chair and I could still have a piece of paradise.
That's right, and your real grass actually extends right onto the golf course, so people can get up in the morning, walk out, pick up their newspaper, walk out right from their patio onto their own grass, right onto the golf course, and enjoy that beautiful, lush turf that they wanted us to keep for them in areas where we could.
Well, I understand you're a golfer, so let's go try out your handicap right now.
I used to be.
If I could just move this thing, it's not... Kevin, can you give me a hand over here?
No,
Go
I
get-
can't
go
help
get-
you with that. That is weighs about half a ton.
Dude.
And was placed there on purpose where it belongs.
And you're not going to help me?
No.
How'd you
That
get
needs
it
to
here?
stay right there.
How many guys would it take to muscle this around?
To move that by themselves, probably about 6 to 8 guys.
Wow. Yeah, half a ton would be an awful lot.
Yep.
And you know, I am pretty buff, but I'm not that buff over there.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay, as project manager, right?
Right, yep.
To this place here, this is such a huge undertaking.
Yeah, big job.
How
big
many
job.
people did it take to put this thing, whole thing together?
We had about 50 to 60 guys at a time, and it took about 6 months for the front yards, and then another month, 2 months to do the medians and front entry.
Wow, so you guys were really buzzing on this
Yeah,
thing.
really
Just like that
cranking.
fly that was on you just now, or bee or whatever it was.
Yep.
Okay, so it takes that long, it takes a lot of manpower to put this
Yep.
together. Did you follow a plan?
Definitely, yeah, there was a plan. There's a typical plan for the front yard, so they're not all exactly the same, but there's a theme that we stick to, and we kind of
Okay.
detail out each front yard, give it its own flair.
Okay, so they're just not like stamps of the
No,
same thing. Because you normally,
no.
you know, you go to tract homes and you see that all the time, and
Yep.
how boring that
Right,
can get.
yeah.
Okay,
so this has a lot of variety kind of
Okay.
built in.
all right, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. And did you, start with plants that were really small, or did you already start with bigger ones? How did that
We had a
work?
variety of sizes. Some were really small, some had some maturity to them already to give that kind of already, been here for a few years feel.
Okay,
So it
and
didn't
what
look
about
like
these trees here? Like this one right here. Did you guys
Yep.
install a big one like
Nope,
that?
those were all existing. We used a lot of nice existing elements, some nice cacti, big trees and stuff to tie in and make it all.
Okay, because I see some gigantorous palm trees
Yep.
and things like that
Yep.
going around, so all that's been staying.
Yeah, this place was installed about 20 years ago, and
Oh.
there were a lot of overgrown things we removed and took out, but a lot of nice accents we kept and worked around.
Yeah, I
Too
could
hot.
definitely understand that. All right, now the thing that really perplexes me is, dude, you look so young. How do you get a job like this?
Bad luck.
Is that what it is? Hey, I'll work in the most hideous
Right. Yep.
temperatures and everything
yeah,
like
no, I
that.
started young and just kind of worked through it. And learned.
Nice. So then, for all intents and purposes, the majority of what you have done is completed, right?
Yes.
Nice. Except for one little thing. Dude, help me move this rock.
I can't do it.
Jeez, this is not
I like
the
my
right
back.
spot. Oh, wow. 9 acres to maintain, 9 acres of plants, of rocks, of weeds. I mean, look at that poor guy working on over there. Like, you guys got a lot going on over here, don't you?
There's a lot happening here.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, very unusual when you see a company who does an install that actually gets to do the maintenance as well. That's kind of a cool thing because there's a synergy going on.
There really is a synergy, and it's pretty important during a turnover process that you can just transition from your construction crews that installed it and then having your maintenance crews maintain it.
Therefore, if there's any kind of situation that comes up, you can go internally to find out what's going on.
And likewise, the homeowners and the HOA, they don't have to point fingers. There's only one company responsible.
Nice, I like that. And the responsibilities that you have over here is, you get like Martin over there, he's making sure that the lines are nice and clean. You have turf. You guys actually take care of the front yards.
We do. We take care of the fronts, the backs, and in Indian Ridge, the courtyards.
Wow. Now, I used to be in the landscape installation and maintenance business, and I've worked with HOAs before, and we never did anybody's backyards. It was only the front, and that was it.
Well, it's a pretty unique environment here. Backyards are actually pretty common as far as HOA work in the desert. It's the interior courtyards in Indian Ridge that really make this a unique job.
Ah, I see. Now, one of the things that I see here, of course, is that you've got turf, which is really kind of refreshing to see, especially with hot weather like this. You guys, through the plans that I've seen, have strategically placed it.
That's correct.
And then on top of that, I see you're strategically placing your trash. Look at this. You got a big old pile going on over here. Is this typical for this much off of one piece of property?
It is actually for this time of year. When we get 90-degree heat like this, things grow really fast, and you develop trash piles like this throughout a project pretty quick.
Now, there's actually something special about this, because when I was in the business, we would put tarps out. but we wouldn't put tarps out this big. They're too hard to handle for a guy.
Right.
So you've got a special technique here.
There is a special technique. A crane process was developed a few years ago that most of the landscape companies in the desert use now, where these tarps are actually picked up and 3 corners of the tarp, after it's lifted above the truck, are released by a mechanism called the claw, released and dumped in the truck, and then the crane comes back over, drops the tarp off, they throw it back under the truck, go to the next pile.
Nice. So being that this is all piled up, do you think you guys would get mad here if I was like to run through it?
I don't think they'd be too mad. They might wonder what you're doing, but.
Okay. Oh man, this is really neat. All right, I'm a little worried about you guys. Step aside. I don't want anybody getting hurt over here.
No, not at all.
Not at all, huh? You know, when you get a public agency and you get a private agency together, man, the fists and the language have got to fly.
Oh, not at all. I mean, we it's great working with all our customers basically, and you know, working with Joe. He's been a great guy. It was great working with him this whole rebate project. They've been at it for quite a bit now, so it's finally nice to see the whole project finally complete.
Okay.
So,
so is he telling the truth, man? I mean, come on.
Yeah, no, he's telling the truth.
Okay, why did you guys get together in the first place?
Well, Indian Ridge, we wanted to we were doing a water savings project, and we saw that CVWD offered rebates $1 per square foot. So I contacted Renee, and so he could help us out with having, to receive rebates.
Okay, now when you say $1 per square foot, that's a lot of dollars, a lot of square foot over here, isn't it?
That is.
Yeah, how many acres is that?
We removed approximately 6 acres of turf.
Wow, so are you guys gonna get started on all this next? Is that what's happening, or?
No, we're not. We deliberately took from the fronts of homes where people really don't spend a lot of time. People are moving in and out. They can enjoy the nice water efficient landscaping, but they can still come over here and view out of their back doors this beautiful landscaping back here that's green and has grass still.
Yeah, they can still run their feet through the grass, can't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that works out nice. So those kind of things were some of the. Was that a challenge to work on, or was that something that was like second nature for you guys?
well, I think it's second nature. I don't think it was a challenge because the rebates that the water district provides are really great because it can expand the rebate project. Because again, like Joe mentioned, we offer a rebate where we pay $1 per square foot, but the maximum is $25,000 per project, and you could do multiple projects at one time. So that really helped them, really do a lot of turf removal.
But at the same time, we didn't remove a whole lot in the same instance because look where we're at. We're in a paradise.
Yes, we are. We removed it from key areas, and that was the whole purpose behind it. Remove it from non-used areas where people aren't hanging out. They hang out on this beautiful golf course on their back patios.
I want to hang out on this golf course. I'll tell you that right now. This is just gorgeous with everything in bloom and such. I love it. And of course, this whole theme is literally everywhere on the property. Yes. So breaking it down into those sections, was that tough for you guys to kind of get a grasp with?
Not so much. I mean, because they hired an excellent landscape architect who basically had the vision and basically did the best of both worlds, doing the landscape conversion and leaving the turf behind. So it did a great job. It was a great combination.
Yeah. Now, do you think you saved any water? Are you saving any water?
Yes, we've saved quite a bit of water.
Yeah. Now the state has mandated a certain percentage of water that has to be saved in different complexes and such. What is that percentage, and do you think they're going to meet those goals?
We were giving a percentage of 36. We had to save that. We had to, help spread the word out to our customers so they make sure they meet that 36% savings.
Okay. I heard from a little mouse that you guys actually have possibly surpassed that 36% by a whole lot.
Yes, that is correct. Our goal was to meet that 36% mandate, and we have passed.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting about it? It's still pretty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very.
It's actually one of my mantras that I've always used. It's not about not using water; it's about strategically placing it, and that's where you folks come in, is to help them with that process.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, and the district has 3 different rebate programs that can help, with the whole process, turf removal. And the district also has a nozzle replacement program for areas that they wish to keep green, but water it more efficiently. And then we also have a smart controller rebate program that basically can help you, meet your budgets.
Now, were they able to qualify for all those?
Yes, they were.
Oh,
yes.
Nice. How difficult was it to fill out all that paperwork?
It was a little time consuming because things had to be split out into different sections, but CBWD and Renee with CBWD made it much easier.
Oh, nice. Okay. So like when you guys see each other in the street, you're not like walking on the opposite side? Or
I try and
like...
hit them,
Yeah. Well, that's good. Well, obviously the work pays off because you can just go through this whole property, whether it's on the street side in front of everybody's homes or the back side over here, and you can see some really fantastic things. And I applaud you for your efforts. Thanks a lot, guys.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Okay, let's get some golf clubs. Okay, so I got a question for you. These glasses here, is this the vision that you had when you started to come up with this whole concept?
Actually, my vision's probably worse now because I don't have my glasses on. But that aside, we do, of course, talk about vision with the design of an environment for a place. This is a country club, and we look at the environment in which people live, and what we try to do is to create something that is integral with their lifestyle.
And with 460 plus homes that are around here, there's a lot of lifestyle going on.
A lot of different opinions, too.
So how do you work all that into from people's their emotions? And then you have to take that and you got to put it on paper.
I think by diplomacy, you're not going to please everybody,
Right.
but we do try to please as many people as possible. And what we always hope for is that when people have a chance to see the work implemented, that we win them over. And we're pretty confident that that did happen here.
Nice. Well, you could really tell that there was a lot of thought and process that went into the installation of all this, because you can tell that it's not just haphazard kind of stuff going on.
That's a good point. And it's important because we sometimes sardonically joke in my office that many desert landscapes are like polka dot landscapes. So it's someone drives a truck and they just throw plants off the side of the truck. And wherever they land, that's where they plant them. Kind of like boulders sometimes. We try to have a design theme. We have certain plants that we use in groupings, and then we weave these together so that it creates a balanced look throughout the community. We may focus more on some plants in some areas, but overall there's a tie. Everything seems to belong in that same community.
Okay, now I noticed a couple of things here that are really important for people to understand. You incorporated water-wise, water-thrifty plants, but not all of them are California natives.
That is quite true. We cheat a little bit.
I actually don't look at it as cheating. I look at it as brilliance, because there's so many plants that are from other countries that have worse weather conditions than you do in this little microclimate that you have, which is over 14 western states, by the way. And you're able to bring those and tie them together. And there's a method for that madness, and I love that.
I wish I just knew the method.
Well, a guy was driving by with a truck and a bunch of plants fell out.
Yeah. It's not only other countries, it's other states. But we like to think that we have the worst climate. Certainly the most challenging, I'll put it that way. Very challenging.
Oh, we definitely do. And I've seen a lot of places where they've done horrible jobs on their landscape installation, but the things that you've done, I mean, look at the color that's just popping right here, this moment. And this is gonna last more than a couple of days.
Oh, this will last hopefully for a decade or two.
Yeah.
Or maybe 3.
Yeah.
But what's obviously important with landscape design is to have different textures, different colors, and what people are always fearful of when they're converting from a turf-oriented landscape and going to desert is they're worried that it's going to look like scorched earth. And so we have to make them feel that, to take a line from the local water district, it's lush and efficient. So that means a lot of vitality, a lot of verve, and a lot of color. And people like it because it's sparky. It makes them feel happy.
Did you just say Sparky?
I did.
That's a good word. I like it.
That should be my nickname. Sparky.
So we have a Sparky landscape
We
going
got a
on.
Sparky landscape.
Oh, okay. Another thing that I had noticed is that we still have a lot of established plants that are here.
Yes.
Was that tough working around the established plants?
Yes and no, because having the large plants dictates how we lay out where we put our, in this case, smaller material. As you can see, we did put in some trees also, but they're the same genus as the existing trees. I think we used a different species though, one that we know, we have learned over time actually does better. What's also important in going from a turf environment to a desert style environment is to create more diversity in ground plane. So turf is typically pretty much flat. On these median islands it might be somewhat convex, but when we switch to a desert style we have to create more interest in the ground plane. So we do that also with the choice of material that's used as a ground cover, and we also add accent material, in this case cobble, to create different textures just in the ground plane.
Now, with all these elements that you've incorporated, did you have to bring them up to somebody to show them what the plants look like? Was it done in physical plants? Was it done in pictures? Or did you actually bring the cobble in different stove?
Every material was shown to the board for their approval, and in fact to the members of the homeowner association. That was interesting. What we found though is that most people don't really pay that much attention to it. It's only when they see it in actuality that they suddenly respond. So one of the things we do to accommodate that strange way that people work is to have the contractor lay all the plants out in their containers before sticking them in the ground so that the, in this case, the board members can see what the idea is.
Nice.
Then they have final say and they're comfortable.
Okay, so then this way they saw that it was there, it's there, dig your hole, slap it in the ground, and then go on to the next thing.
Sure, but not that simple. Because what people don't understand is that the plants that are put in the ground as tiny babies will eventually grow, and that they will eventually take over the dominating effect of the gravel ground cover.
The landscape changes.
Right, but people don't understand that, and what they see is what goes in. So frankly, it's a challenge for us as well, because we tend to overplant.
As far as I'm concerned, you had some pretty good vision. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it.
Don't let the grass grow under your feet, as we're going to be breaking brand new ground. Whether you have one small houseplant or acres of land, you're gardening. Excuse me. Isn't that a great thing? Getting your hands all dirty and growing things, it's so exciting. Well, we'll be talking about how to make your plants look the best that they possibly could. Don't beat around the bush for whatever's on your gardening mind. Join me next time here on Things Green.